Two tickets. Just two tickets. Cricket was thrown into a near civil war. England was pushed out of its power position, ICC had to be restructured, and India took its first steps towards becoming a cricketing superpower. All because of two tickets. Today, we are going to tell the story of those two tickets and the political and strategic masterstrokes that ultimately brought the entire cricket power structure to its knees. It's funny sometimes how in retrospect you can see how the smallest of pebbles created an avalanche. In this case, it started with India's Union Minister of Education, Siddharth Shankar Ray, coming to England on a surprise visit. The surprise wasn't the visit though, that was done months in advance. What was surprising was that India had made it to the finals of the 1983 World Cup. Shankar Ray, excited by this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, called up his fellow Union Minister, who was also the BCCI president at the time, NKP Salve, to ask for two tickets. Salve agreed and quickly asked for two extra tickets from the organizers, where he was told, "You have been sent two tickets. You can use them if you want, but you are not getting any more." Imagine that. BCCI at the time, the apex board of one of the largest countries in the world, whose team was in the finals, was being told, all you get are two tickets, nothing more. On the other hand, members of MCC, that was the English Cricket Board before it became the English Cricket Board, whose chairman would automatically become the chairman of ICC. That MCC, they would get pre-reserved seats. Half of the box seats in the finals had been left empty because the high and mighty organizers of MCC didn't want to watch a final where England wasn't playing. And still, the president of BCCI cannot be given two tickets. That was it. The match was stuck. Salve later went on to say that that was the day he decided that the World Cup had to be shifted out of England. And he went at it with a vengeance. So, first of all, BCCI wasn't the BCCI you know today. They had no political clout, no financial clout, and absolutely no global sway. Furthermore, England, along with Australia, had veto powers. That means anything that India could come up with, they could just shut down. So in short, we needed help. And just the next day, on a celebratory luncheon with Sri Lankan and Pakistani officials, in a casual conversation with Pakistani Air Chief Marshal Noor Khan and Sri Lankan Cricket Secretary, Salve said, "How wonderful it would be if we could play the World Cup in India." To which Marshal Noor Khan said, "Why can't we play the World Cup in our own countries?" To which Salve replied, "Why not both India and Pakistan host it together?" Just in a conversation, the seeds were sown. India couldn't do it alone. True. But with two more test-playing nations forming an Asian bloc, what was impossible before was just extremely difficult now. So, with this small victory in hand, Salve returned back to India along with his victorious team to a felicitation by the Prime Minister of India, Mrs. Indira Gandhi. And just like before, in a casual conversation, he described the humiliation he had suffered. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, who had unhesitatingly deployed troops into Bangladesh 10 years before, who had stood toe-to-toe with American President Nixon, who famously called her an old witch who was just playing him all along. That Indira Gandhi had just one question. What are you gonna do about it? Right then and there. In the midst of the ceremony itself, Mr. Salve explained his entire plan to Mrs. Gandhi, who then made one single call. Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani was being summoned to her office the next day, where Mrs. Gandhi again had just one question. If we bring the World Cup to India, will you cover the cost? To which Dhirubhai Ambani famously replied, if you bring the World Cup here, I will write you a blank check. So, with a blank check in his pocket and the Prime Minister at his back, Salve conducted a meeting in Lahore in 1983. With Sri Lankan and Pakistani officials present, he explained his plan and Jagmohan Dalmia drafted a basic proposal to move the World Cup out of England. And with everybody's consensus, it was put before ICC. The response was thunderous. The ICC, enraged by the sheer audacity of India's proposal, raised objections after objections, trying to bury the proposal in legalities. And it did get buried. But that was the trick. Nobody on the Indian side expected it to pass. The idea was just to propose the change and then use it as a bait to lure one specific fish in, the second biggest fish in the pond, Australia. And it worked. Written in the proposal was a rotation policy for hosting World Cups. That meant after India, the World Cup would move to Australia. As they had hoped, the Australian Cricket Board chairman gave in to the lure and gave Salve his quiet consent, while stating that he won't vote against England in an open ballot. In other words, we will vote for you in a closed ballot. And more importantly, we won't veto. Securing that key victory, India and Pakistan quickly formed the India-Pakistan Joint Management Committee with the sole purpose of securing the joint hosting of the next World Cup. Pakistani Air Marshal Noor Khan proposed Salve as the president, and together they went after the next goal, ICC voting system. Now simply put, the ICC's total voting strength was 37. 2 votes each for the 8 test nations, that is a total of 16 votes, and 1 vote each for the 21 associates. At the time though, associate teams were seen as the lowest of the low on the totem pole. 60% of ICC's funding was given to the 8 test playing teams, while 40% had to be shared between the rest 21 teams. And Salve had smelled the opportunity here. He went up to the associate teams and offered them 4 times the money that England was offering. That's £20,000 as compared to England's 5,000. For test playing nations, the offer was £75,000, 5 times more than what England was offering. Amidst this mouth-watering prize, ICC voting began and ended with a 16-12 victory for India. But before it could be formally announced, England raised objections to the process of voting, saying that they had not seen the Pakistani representative Chief Justice Naseem Hassan Shah's vote. Let's be absolutely clear about what they were doing. They were saying that they couldn't see Justice Shah because of his small height. Yup, the officials sitting at the highest point of cricket were resorting to childish name callings because they couldn't accept their defeat. And when the recount happened, with an infuriated Justice Shah standing on the bench with both his hands raised so that the English officials could see him properly this time, India had won, and they still couldn't accept it. For the next 4 years, they found issue after issue to raise objections on. They first attacked with whether we would actually ban South African origin cricketers in the World Cup due to apartheid ban. If yes, then England, New Zealand and Australia would pull out of the World Cup. If no, then not only would the West Indies back out, but we would have betrayed Indians living in South Africa as second-class citizens. In a tricky situation, the political acumen of Mr. Salve came to the fore. He declared that yes, we would ban them, but the ban would come into effect 1 year after the World Cup. They then asked, how can we play 60 overs ODI cricket there? The lighting conditions won't allow it. We replied with, we can just, maybe 50 overs cricket. They said that we do not have the broadcasting ability. We replied that we are going to overhaul the entire equipment system worth 30 crores. They asked, how would teams travel from ground to ground to ground in such a large country? We replied that the aviation minister had agreed to reroute all Indians' flight according to the World Cup's schedule. Even as close to the World Cup as in 1986. With 8 months to go for the World Cup, they said that they would pull out from the World Cup because of tensions between India and Pakistan. Mr. Bindra, close friend of Salve and the IPJMC secretary at the time, famously met Pakistani's military dictator at the time, General Zia-ul Haq, and suggested that the general should visit India to break the tensions. General Zia asked, will the Indian PM invite me? Bindra replied, it doesn't matter. You just come. And he did. And the tensions between the two countries disappeared for 1 year. The message was clear to the world. No matter what they asked, no matter what objections were raised, no matter the hills to climb or valleys to cross, this time, the World Cup would be played in India. It was brought here because of a plan conceived, strategized, and meticulously executed, step by step by step, so that never again, ever again, would one of us, third world citizens, have to ask and be refused something that was rightfully ours. The funny thing is, what they didn't know, India had no way of paying the money that they had promised. Yes, Dhirubhai Ambani had given a verbal promise to Indira Gandhi in 1983, but Indira Gandhi was tragically assassinated in 1984. The succeeding Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi did not share the same rapport with Ambani that her mother did. Nor could he afford to be associated with a rich businessman right at the start of his career. So, there was no way they could get money directly from Ambani. They had to find money the hard way, by searching for sponsors from international corporations for an underdeveloped country with severely restricted foreign market access. This was gonna be like, I'm gonna take your money and I'm never gonna return it, and you can't even profit from it. When are you giving me money? What happened next is an amazing story in itself of how we did what we do best when pushed into a corner, of how we jugadofied an entire World Cup. That's the story of our next video. I hope you like this video. Thank you.